This quilt is created with 9 patches and snowball blocks and was one of my grandmother's favorite quilts. We're going to show you how to do 9 patches by letting the ruler and the math work for you so you can make 9 patch units very quickly, and how to use some lines on your squares that you probably didn't even know existed to cut both corners off of a snowball block quickly and easily and accurately. I've already sewn 3 2.5-inch strips together, and as you know, a 9 patch consists of 9 blocks. All of these are 2.5-inch strips. In this particular case, there's going to be white corners and a flowered center. I'm staggering the blocks up the rotary cutting mat, and so see, I'm staggering them about every inch, and if you notice, by doing that, these seams are not on top of each other, so I can cut through them easily. One of the advantages of using the Stripology ruler is this is the ruler itself. If you notice, these don't move side to side, but they do move up and down. So with this tool, you don't get the teeter-tottering you would going across seams with the traditional ruler. Now I'm ready to cut these out. I have my light, dark, dark, and light, dark, light. So I've got all 3 of them. Now every time I make a cut with this, I have an entire 9 patch block. So I'm going to take one of the horizontal lines and line it up with my mat, because I lined these up with the mat, and so all of my units will be perfectly square. I'm going to move this over so the 0 is right on this edge. I don't care about the lines on the mat anymore. I just use those to make sure that these were square, and since I'm using the vertical lines on the tool now, everything will be square. Now on this tool, if you notice, there are squares every 2.5 inches. So I'm going to use those squares because I don't even have to do the math. This is at 2.5, the next square is at 5, etc. And so I can easily cut at every square, and that's going to give me my 2.5-inch segments going in the other direction. So I take the rotary cutter, go on its side till you hear it click, and it's going to go right in that groove. Then I go up to the next square and cut the next one and cut and continue until I have all of them cut. This is half of a strip, so I'm going to be able to get 9 patches out of those 3 strip sets. So when I take this away, and I'll pull this, see, right here's my block. I'm going to take this away because I would continue to do that until I had all the 9 patches done. But look at this. Right there's my block, and since I always press the seams towards the print fabric, all of my seams are going to nest perfectly. So that is a great way to do the 9 patches, because every time I make a cut, I'm getting an entire unit. A snowball starts with 1 square. In this case, the 9 patches finish 6 inches and measure 6.5 inches. So I cut the background square to 6.5 inches. And then I cut 2.5-inch squares and placed them on each corner so the adjoining sides lined up with the background square. As you can see, I already sewed these, so these are sewed with pink thread, so it'll show up better on camera. Now I'm going to take our square tool, and we have 1/4 inch seams on 2 sides. I'm going to place this on the actual seams that I sewed and trim 2 sides at once. I'm going to flip the block around, and once again I'm going to put those 1/4-inch dash lines on the seam and trim the other 2 corners. Now when I press this out, I have a perfect snowball block.